for us to sit here and say a man should not cry or a man should not show emotions, I agree to not agree with that, right? I agree to disagree. You know, I think that's the problem, especially with men. We're ashamed, we scared to show emotions until we just hold everything in, and then we don't know how to put the pot on the stove to let it boil. Like we have to eventually let the steam come out. You have to, and if you don't ever do that, you will always, I promise you, you will, you will always hold some type of grudge, some type of envy, some type of whatever it is that goes in your mind. You will always hold something against, from you progressing in life
until you explode. What's going on, world? Welcome to another episode of Unethical and Accountable. I'm Cameron.
I'm Dwayne.
And this week we got a very, very important show for you all. Something that, we think needs to be addressed in the black community that for a long time has been a big taboo. We're going to talk about mental health as well as mental illnesses today and why we stray away from healthcare and addressing those things in our communities. But first and foremost, I want to say Happy New Year's to everyone. Wishing everyone the best of luck in their New Year's resolutions as we move forward. It just started. Keep it up. But before we get started, we're going to get a word from our sponsors as well as from our special guest today.
So guys, remember, this is a new year. A new year means new goals. New goals mean new execution, guys. So with that still being said, guys, make sure you head over to rhinoacademy.com and make sure you guys go check out the website if you want to learn how to repair, rebuild, and leverage your credit all for free, guys. This is free information that Rhino Academy give out all for free. So if you want to learn how to rebuild and leverage your credit without paying a dime, make sure you head over to their website. And to get things started, guys, I want to introduce a very, very special person to me. He's the reason why we actually came up with today's show, right? He's the reason why I'm such a big advocate of, seeking mental help if you need to actually go seek it. So, with no further introduction, I'd just like to go ahead and introduce my brother. Go ahead, brother, introduce yourself.
Keith Thornton. I want to start by saying it's an honor to be here, to be a part of this journey of Unethical and Accountable. Like, I love what you guys are doing. I'm just happy to be a part of the impact that you guys are making in the community. And I'm just ready to just help. Let's start helping.
That's what's up, bro.
Appreciate you joining us. So again, the big question that we really asking today is why don't we address mental health within the black community? And this also includes mental illness. So before we get started, we can't have a very progressive or, productive conversation about this before we break down really, the difference between mental health and mental illness. We definitely want to get into the facts and define these things first. So mental health, of course, when we're talking about mental health, we're speaking on emotional, psychological, and social well-being and how we think, feel, and act as a result of those things. So it's just something that has to do with your inner self and how you feel, and it's equally as important as addressing mental illness, but it has more to do with your inner self. And when we speak on mental illnesses, this it sort of has the same impact, and it can impact how you think, act, and feel. But these are actually conditions that you are diagnosed with. And within our community, there's a big taboo. There's a taboo when it comes to this topic, and we're all here because we think it needs to be addressed, and we've been impacted, by either of the two in our own personal ways. So, just wanted to explain the difference between those two, and just want to hear from you all. Then, so why is it important? Just explain why you all think it's important for us to address this. Just to start with the conversation.
I'm letting my brother go first.
Well, I think it's important because, like you said, it's something that's been going on for years and decades, and just a part of our journey as a community. And I feel like it's important because it's just first of all, let me just see how can I make a little sense, like break it down. Like the importance of it is it can be passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. So that's what makes it important to me, I feel like. And we can break those things. We can start healing through generation to generation. And I feel like once we get that concept of it and realizing that it's something that's being passed down, and then just like the trauma was passed down, I feel like healing can be passed down too, just to start. Like, that's the importance for me, I feel like. We just got to realize that it's something that we can pass down to our children and our children's children, and healing.
Yeah, so you know, with me, it's like, you know what I'm saying, as a culture, you know, as the black generation of what we grew up in, right? We grew up in going through a lot of traumatizing events that happens within our family and what happens also within our community. And you know, these things trigger down, you know, generation after generation after generation without anyone seeking some type of mental help, right? And then when we do seek help, you know, it always tend to be the ones that's close to us. But deep down, the ones that's close to us also need mental help. They need to actually go seek some type of treatment. And you know what goes on in our culture. You know, the moment you say, I think I need to go see a therapist, or I need to go see a psychiatrist, it's like we automatically shoot it down. Oh, or we already say, oh, you crazy. Oh, you don't need that. Why I need to go seek help for somebody else, right? You know, that right there is already a sign of some type of mental illness that they have to check within themselves. We got to understand, you know, for almost 50 to 100 years or whatever, how long you want to date it back to, that, you know, as a culture, we've been through so much, whether it was our grandparents, our mothers, their great parents, their mothers, you know, the great parents, right? They went through, you know, civil rights movements. They went through slavery. It was so many different type of things that generations before us went through that they never actually seek the right help, and then it just trickled down to raising us as we was kids, and then it just trickled down to us raising our kids, and it just goes on from there. So, like I said, it's just things that, you know, especially within our community, that we need to actually seek out for help. And there's nothing wrong with just saying, you know what, I'm gonna sit down and give it a try, and you know, let me test it out to see where we can go from there.
And just to piggyback on both those things, I think, man, as far as mental health, you know, specifically, I think, you know, the first step to, you know, building a better overall mental health is addressing, you know, your personal issues with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people that are close to you first. Honestly, they may not be experts. They may not even, you know, have you know, a foundation themselves to stand on.
Right.
But I think acknowledging, you know, that there's something going on in your life and that's something that's affecting you, whether you're not happy or, you know, you don't feel good about yourself, you know, those are you know, signals in my mind. You know, you don't feel confident, and socially you don't feel like, you know, you fit in and you want to fit in, and those types of things. I think the first thing to do is address it. You know, things are going wrong in your life. You don't know why they're going wrong. You feel like you got, you know, a bad shot at life. You know, you're not happy with everything that's going on. Address it. You know, let's get to the root of the problem. And you don't necessarily have to go all the way and see a therapist. I think, you know, the first step is to just talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to somebody first. And if you feel like you're not getting anywhere with that, anywhere positive with that,
Right.
the next step would be to, okay, go further into it. You know, do research, or someone close to you can help you find a physician, you know, that will direct you to a specialist that can, you know, help you with whatever issues that you're going through. But first and foremost, we gotta address what's going on in our lives, our wrongdoings as well as everything we're doing good. Let's not just focus on the negatives. Let's
Right.
focus on the negatives and the positives.
Right.
Let's be realistic,
Yeah.
because we're not perfect. You know, a lot of people, you know, especially on social media, and this impacts us as well. You see everyone's doing so good, right? Everyone's doing so good.
Highlight reel.
It's exactly. It's the highlight reel. Everyone's doing so good, but you don't know that, you know, somebody close to them, they just lost them. You don't know that probably a month ago they were sleeping on the couch, and you know, you don't see those things. So, and again, and that impacts you personally because other people around you are being successful, and you may not be in that position, or it may not even be a success thing, and looking at others, things may actually be happening to you that you don't know how to process. So it's a large amount of things that could be affecting you, but you gotta have an outlet. That's what I would say, a positive outlet,
Yeah.
because there are negative outlets as well. Let's make it positive,
Like,
out of that.
like what you were saying earlier about like seeking help from like people that you know. I feel like that is very important as far as like having an accountability partner.
And people that you know and trust.
Yeah, that you know and trust that they're not gonna like. It's an uncle that I would not go ask him for no mental health advice. You know what I mean? Why would I ask him? But I would come talk to Wayne, because I know he's gonna direct me into the right place. He ain't gonna just send me to the wrong direction. You know what I mean? So I think we need to first like have your circle. Your circle of people is very important, and have people that you can trust and you can tell them what you're going through. You don't feel like somebody looking at you crazy because, oh man, I'm in my feelings today, or I feel like this, I feel depressed, I feel lonely. You should be able to tell your friends and people that you're around daily that without feeling, singled out or feeling like that's lame or this and that. Like you should you shouldn't feel that. You know what I mean? And once you're able to do that, I feel like that gives you courage to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go further. So if you got people around you, man, that you can talk to those people. Get the best advice you can get, and if they're not giving you the best advice, seek it yourself. Go further yourself. That's what I feel.
And just to touch on the mental illness aspect of it as well, I think it's even a bigger taboo than mental health in our community, because we don't acknowledge mental illnesses, autism, those types of things as real things that exist. Like, these are actual conditions that people are being diagnosed with that actually impact the way they can function. Like, and all of us probably one way or another have somebody in our families that okay, nobody know, or nobody want to talk about exactly what's going on with that person and why they act a certain way, and the kids just know, oh well, that's just how he is. Like, what I'm saying, everybody got that person probably in their family that isn't diagnosed with a condition, but everybody know, oh, that's just how he act, or that's just how he is, or he just don't talk to nobody. So we got to start addressing these things as well, and realizing that there may be something wrong with a person in our family that we're close to, and we can help them live a better life if we address that the proper way. So that's pretty much the direction we're going in with this conversation. Let's keep it going. So why are we not receiving? Let's get deeper into that. Why are we not receiving or addressing mental health care in our community? There's a large history, and again, like you said, a large history in America with us not doing that. So why? What's the root of the issue?
I think it's a lack of knowledge. I think like my parents and my grandparents, they don't really know about therapy and seeking mental health. They don't really know about those things. Like I was listening to a couple episodes ago with y'all, and it's like your grandma would say, go to God. You don't need no therapist. Take it to God. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way we look at things, instead of, God put doctors on earth for a reason. If you break your wrist, you're going to go to the doctor. But if you realize that you have an issue going on mentally, you should do the same thing. You should seek help. Go to a doctor for that. And I just think things like this is what the community needs to know, the world needs to know, that it's okay to seek help mentally. It's okay. And outlets like this needs to be out. Young kids need to know it's okay. Go seek help. It's fine. It's going to help you out in the long run. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to love yourself more. And the thing is, you are the only person that wake up with yourself every day and go to sleep with yourself every day for your whole life. And you got to make sure that person inside of your mind, that feeling in your head is healthy. Because healthy things grow. And you got to realize, you want to be healthy mentally, man. It's very important to be healthy mentally.
Yeah, and then just to add on to also, like I say, just to date back with just our families, right? Because I think it falls on both sides, the mental illness and the mental health part. It's like, let's think about, when I look at the way we was raised, right? Not saying spankings is actually a bad thing, but when I look at how a lot of parents was actually spanking their kids back in back in the days, in my younger times, right? I look at it as it was a mental illness that they got from maybe their ancestors' experience when they was actually being whipped as a slave. So when we actually think about this, when you was in trouble, your slave master basically whipped you with the whip. So that was the punishment. So a lot of black parents, when they was raising a child, they form of discipline was to go get a branch, they go get a belt, a wetted or some type of form, yeah. And then that was their discipline of spanking their kids. That's what they thought was right. But now as I get older, I'm like, yo, that's not the best form. Like it could have been a better strategy that could have been used to discipline kids, in a better way that they could still actually learn how I got beat as myself, right? But I think I turned out 10 times better, if you would have just sat down with me or something like that. But it's just stuff like that, though, right? When and I say when people don't think that's a mental illness, that it's a disease at the end of the day. Because like I say, that's just something that they experienced, their ancestors experienced, and then it just passed down generation after generation. And that's just something we got accustomed to, and that's just what we thought was the right thing to do. But deep down to me, I think it's wrong. It's other ways that you could actually do to discipline your child. That's just thing. Another thing is, like I say, I don't think we make mental illness, mental health. I don't think we make it cool enough, right? It's nobody out there. I mean, you have these rappers nowadays. They talk about it in their songs and stuff like that, but they talking about the depression they go through, but they not talking about how they seeking the help. Right. And that's the big picture right there that we actually missing.
Other than drugs and alcohol, Other than that, no.
And so when you think about it, like you say, with a lot of these young artists, is they talking about it, but like you say, I'm drugging myself to make me feel good. No, that's not the way you should go. You should actually stop drugging yourself and go seek the help that you actually need. And if that doctor or whatever might prescribe something to you, maybe whether it's right or wrong, whether you believe in that or not, then you go that route. But for you to just actually sit there, intoxicate your body with these things to think that that's what make you feel good in life, once again, that's an illness. That's something that you have to check in and get yourself checked out. Because, a lot of us probably go through it. Some of us think somebody passed away or stuff like that. A lot of people that I know, they have to consume some type of alcohol to make themselves feel good. Or they have to go smoke some type of marijuana to calm them nerves down. Like, those things right there is a sign of some form of depression, that you think you need these drugs to stimulate or make you feel good in some type of way. So right there, that's another sign of you might be depressed. You have to check yourself out. You have to check in with yourself. And like I said, people are afraid to actually, say, you know what, I need help. I need to go seek it. You know what I'm saying? When my grandmother on my mother and my daddy's side passed, it took me out this world. And, people was coming to me was like, hey man, you should go drink. But I know that's not what I wanted to do. So, like even my mother, nobody knew that I literally checked my own self into an institution. I checked into a holistic, rehab center for myself, because I knew that that's something that I needed to deal with in myself. It was nothing nobody could have told me at that time to make me feel good. But I knew mentally that I knew something was deep down wrong with me. And I couldn't be around nobody. I had to literally go check myself in, make myself feel great. The place I checked into, it was more of I call it the rainforest rehab, because I basically slept outside in nature. I had no contact with my phone, no internet, none of that. It was me and nature, and me, what I'm saying, finding my mind in the dark. What I'm saying, the food I was eating was almost grass, just about. But it was a way to get us back to nature, to heal our brain, to find healing within myself. And I just think stuff like that is what people need to go through or go look for if you actually looking for help, especially mentally. Because like I said, a lot of people have mental issues and they don't. I think they know it, but they don't want to admit it. And like I say, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it, man. If you need help, go seek it. You know what I'm saying? Stop thinking, we could carry the boatload. You can't never carry the boatload by yourself. You always going to need some form of help. And, I think that's what we just got to start pushing, especially to the young generation with all the social media, in today's world. We have to be able to, what I call people is like, it's like your computer. You have to be able to shut it down eventually. You know, you have to get off it, and then once it starts running slow, you have to reprogram it. You got to reboot it to make it run good again. So that's what we have to do when it comes to social media. When y'all talk about social media, we got to reprogram our mind to get away from that and get back into what real life really is. And that's just my perspective about it.
And I totally agree with that as well. And I'm glad you touched on those things through our history that have impacted. Y'all both touched on that. The things that we pass down. A lot of times, man, we condition ourselves for these mental disorders, like depression, bipolar disorder, those types of things, substance abuse. These are disorders that technically count as mental illnesses. And according to the CDC, I mean, more than 50%, of the people, in the world at some point in time will have a disorder. Things which, are conditions that they actually condition themselves, to be in that state of being. So that's real important that we address that as well. Because we gotta let it be known that your habits can create a disorder. The way you think, if you're thinking negative, that can create a disorder. They have words and terms for everything nowadays, so we don't want to get into all that. You come in one day, you feeling bad, somebody might tell you you depressed. If you feeling bad on one day, you go Google it, or you have this disorder, that disorder. You feel one way a certain day, but the key to it is to not condition yourselves into believing that something is wrong or that there's an issue going on. We want to condition ourselves for things that are positive. So I'm glad that's something that we touched on as well. So to everyone listening out there, your thoughts, the way you think, the way you process things, your outlook actually can impact and define your mental health as well as your state of being, which includes mental illnesses. So
and just even that too, like your mental health eventually goes down to your physical health.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if you stressed out and you going through something mentally, now you put stress on your heart. Now you put stress on the other parts of your body. Like it plays a whole role, man. We just gotta keep going, man. We just gotta keep going, keep putting it out there. Letting like Wayne said, man, it may not be cool, but we gonna make it cool.
Yeah, and so something else we touched on was the culturally related stigmas that we see in the black community. And my thing was, man, whenever it came to somebody saying they wanted to seek help or go to a therapist, man, the first thing somebody would say, man, you good, you crazy, was like we gotta address that. We can't have this conversation without addressing that, man. You tell somebody, man,
hit the joint.
Yeah, exactly, man. You don't need to go do that. You don't need to go spend your money but at the end of the day, these are professionals.
Yeah.
Why would you let someone who's not a professional tell you to go medicate, self-medicate on all these types of drugs? They're making it cool now.
Yeah.
It's being made cool now. Why would you listen to that person but not listen to, a specialist in that field of mental health? Why would we do that?
See, and another thing too, I feel like in the schools, I think the counselors. I remember my counselors weren't talking to me about mental health.
Nah.
What they was telling you, you can't have this class and this and that. Schools need to have therapists in the schools. You know what I mean? If they don't see it, because when you think about therapy, you think about it costs a lot of money. It's expensive. Some people might not even have health insurance to do it and this and that. So it just needs to be more resources to help people to get to it, because it is expensive for good therapy and it really is expensive. So if we have to try to find resources to allow people to be able to even do it, because if they can't afford it, what else they gonna do? They can afford a little bag of weed, but it may cost a lot of money for a therapist. So we just got to make it more resourceful.
But this is why I go back to I always go back to the church community, right? As much money, I know these churches communities real in, like I said, we go seek help. When we go to church, we looking for guidance. We looking for spiritual food, right? But like once again, spiritual food is a wide it's a wide lane you could go down, and I feel like a church should have a therapist actually within that community, right? It's nothing for a church to reel in a therapist, and you might not have to be a member of that church, but you know what, this is for the community. You know what I'm saying? If this church is in this community, let's give what this community need, and like you say, that's a form right there. Like especially in low income areas, it's no ends is a bus about it. Everybody in a low income area need to go see a therapist. But once again, when it comes to our culture, we just shoot it down quick. The moment the moment you say something about it, like I say, you just look that crazy. But I don't know, man. It's something that we got to get better. It's like the people who hold a lot of clout out here. All your celebrity rappers, all-star basketball players, stuff like that. They need to promote it more. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they promote it more. We need to just hear people, make it cool, man. Wear it on your shirt, tat it on your arms or something like that. But we got to make it cool where people, can seek these treatments. But as far as the resources, like I said, it's avenues out there that I feel that we could get it if everybody come together and just force it within that community. I think we could get it if we actually come together.
Definitely, and again, I'm glad we touched on that because I think trust is a big factor when it comes to us in healthcare, in general, and we see that even nowadays with the whole pandemic going on, and you got the COVID vaccines, and you see that now with our communities. Of course, we were the people that were getting it the most in our communities, and then as far as the vaccine, we were the most skeptical to get it because of different things that have going on in the past. And even still today, there are barriers that are in our way for us to get the appropriate health care, especially mental health care. And it's crazy. Again, I think we say this on every show. Like, there's a disparity between us, as black individuals, and our counterparts, literally in any category you can think of. And sometimes I think this can't be reality. Maybe they just putting these numbers here to make us feel like, honestly, it can't just be me. But sometimes I look at the numbers, I'm like, man, they gotta be just putting these numbers up here to make us feel like we're inferior. But I guess in reality, we're less, likely to receive health care. We have less, access to medical health care, the actual, form of health care to actually pay for, treatment by, psychiatrists or, to even go to a physician to be referred to a psychiatrist. And our history in America makes us overall not even trust those people who are in those healthcare roles. So again, I think it's important for us to form that network, so that we can build trust, so that we go to people that essentially look like us or have our best interests in mind. So as a community, it starts with you going to a person that you're close with and addressing it with them. Then you going to people that are leaders within the community, or you being that voice within the community and saying, man, we don't talk about this enough. Now, I definitely seen some athletes that have done it. I haven't seen them being outspoken about it, or I've done this, or that transparent about it, but I've definitely seen, athletes say they're going to step out from, the sports to address it. I think that's really important, man, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that mental health, your body ain't going to function. If your body don't function, your mind don't function. You're not living anymore. You're not on this earth anymore. So again, definitely trust within our communities and building that network is really important as far as addressing mental health and mental illnesses. And just to wrap that part of the conversation up, I mean, let's just dive deeper into, mental health, and our perspectives on it personally. So let's get a little bit more personal, and transparent, on this topic.
Well, for me, I started going to therapy. It was 2017. I first started, and I started because I realized none of my relationships would work. I overthink anxiety, and I didn't know what anxiety really was at that time. You hear it, but I used to just, for example, I would just be driving and be like, man, what if somebody just stopped their car and I hit them, and like I used to be thinking to myself, I'm like, I have no control over these thoughts, and it was just like all over the place. I would be thinking about this, that, and some of the things would be negative, and then I used to believe those scenarios I used to create in my mind. I used to like create a whole scenario of a car accident, and I'm in, and why am I thinking like that? You know, and I used to really believe it to where now my heart beating while I'm on the highway. Now I'm nervous because I done made it, and I say, man, I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And I was like crying every day and laying in the bed, and every day just felt like it was gray. You know what I mean? And I just didn't want to live like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm living. I'm alive. I don't have to stay in this gray place. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I spoke to some people at church, and, you know, different people, and I was referred to a therapist. The first therapist I had was horrible. She was horrible. She gave me some medication that I don't even need medication for. You know what I mean? And that made me worse. I was in the shower crying even more, listening to Adele, and, you know, like, that wasn't it. So I ended up having to find another therapist, which is who I am with now, and I haven't felt more alive. I haven't took any medication. It's just I learned how to unpack. And like she always said, you know, if you go on a trip for 25 years, you know how much luggage that is? You know what I mean? And that's how we gotta look at it. Like, we going through life 25, 30 years old, 40, 50, 60. That's a lot of stuff that we haven't even unpacked in our mind, that we just leave it there. We have to express it, we have to talk it, we have to get it out. And, you know, once I started going and I started realizing how it was helping me, you know, then I was letting my brothers know, letting my friends know, hey man, I go to therapy, bro. It's the greatest thing ever, bro. You know yourself more. You understand why you think, or understand why you think, how you think. And you just understand yourself more. You process your thoughts more. You realize that, oh, whatever I'm not in, if I can't control it, don't think about it. Don't worry about it. And it's easier said, but once you keep putting yourself in that position where you unpack and express yourself to a good therapist that listens and receives back, I mean, give it back to you what you need, bro, it's life changing. And it changed my life for the better. And I'm like what Wayne was just saying earlier, like I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I don't pop her. You know what I mean? Like when she do something bad or something like this, I say, baby, daddy don't like that. That's not good. Daddy don't like it. Do not do that again. That is not good. And then she don't do it. But if I just would have went up and just popped on her, you know what I mean? Now she crying, now she upset, now she emotional now.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I just realized it's a different way. And just like trauma was passed down, I believe in my lineage and with my kids, I'm passing down healing.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, just with me, like I say, got to give the credit to, you know, my brother KT, because I was one of them guys out there on the streets like, boy, I don't need no goddamn therapist in my life. What the hell am I going to therapy for, bro? So, you know, KT told me first. You know, I was like, I ain't going to that shit. And then somebody else told me, a friend girl of mine told me the same thing. And it was like, yeah, man, I go to therapy, man. You know, it's doing things in my life. I was like, alright, so 2 people just told me this. Maybe I need to go to therapy. So I gave it a shot. You know, the first thing I always tell people, if you're going to therapy, you have to reverse engineer your mind. And what I mean by reverse engineer your mind, because if you're going into this therapist's office, this therapy section, and you already assume that you might not like it, you lost. So you have to, before you actually go, you have to stop what you're doing, think about it, and put your mind into a state where you know you're going to get that help as soon as you walk in that office, right? And that's basically what I did. I took all the negativity, things I had about therapists out of my head, I threw it out the window. And I walked in his office, and I'm not going to lie, my first session, like he said, it was shitty. Hell, I think I went through 6 therapists. He said 2. I think I went through 6. I'm going to be real. I went through 6 before I actually found that one lady that, you know, I love to this day. And like I said, what I was going through is a lot of, you know, family trauma. And I think a lot of us probably go through family trauma. It's just all about whether do we want to admit it or not. Do we want to let our counterparts around us know that we have family issues? And, you know, like I said, that's just that's another form of healing that we all have to have within each other, especially if we all call ourselves brothers. You cannot be ashamed to tell your other brothers, your other counterparts around you, what you're going through with your personal family. Because at the end of the day, if you consider me family, I am your family, right? We all one family. So that's basically what I was going through. I was going through a lot of family trauma. You know, I was going through family issues that I knew I needed help, and it wasn't just the recent things; it was older things that I kept, that I just kept within me that I just never expressed. And that's what I was going through therapy for. I had to get these thoughts that I had in my mind about my family, like, I don't think they like me for who I am, so forth and so on. And me going to therapy, it cleared my mind, and therapy actually led me to do meditation. So now I'm a big advocate of, you need to, before I have to get back into this even more this year. I just started it. Like, when I wake up, the first thing I always do, I don't touch my phone. I just don't touch it. I literally used to get on my couch, and I just put myself in a room of good energy before I even pick up my phone and see some negative thing on my phone that I probably didn't want to see at the time being. So I think that's the first thing we have to do when we wake up. We have to put our mind in a state of positive energy. You have to put out positive reinforcement in life, because the moment you wake up and you see something negative, or you see something on social media, or you see your friend posting something that you probably dreamed you could have, or you seen somebody getting shot or something like that, that starts your day off bad. So it's very important to put your mind into a good positive state. So that's something I'm also a big advocate of. Mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. That is 3 different things that we all need to seek. And yeah, that's just basically my story, man.
I appreciate that from y'all, man. That was real transparent. And although I haven't, going down the same journey, I haven't had the same revelation personally, man. I found, honestly, that as, I've been growing and actually becoming a man, in my younger days, there'll be a lot of things that, I see now as traumatizing, that things were traumatizing to me, growing up in a place where you could be, playing football, you on the football field, you have a game, then there's a shooting.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it happens again, and you program, it's normal now. It's something that happens on a regular basis. Or you seeing the crackheads on the corner, and you seeing one of your family members being on the corner with them, and you like, I ain't know, or you dealing with things personally, internally, whether that's pressure to succeed or do good, or to be better. A combination of all those things, man. I've learned, honestly, personally, that it's better to communicate these things. If you have an issue, especially with someone that you love, if you have an issue where a lot of us have grew up in households where we're only with our mother, our fathers are not there. If you have an issue with your father, have that conversation with him, or address it. If you got an issue with another family member, have a conversation with him. At least try to have that conversation with them, because I found personally that, in having those conversations and in expressing how I feel, and if I can't get it to them, I get it to the next closest person. Like, man, this is how I feel about this. Instead of holding on to all that, and that was a great analogy when you said the luggage. I'm 25 years old to be exact, so holding on to all this luggage, things that I've experienced from when I was younger to now I'm old enough to comprehend. And I see that was messed up. That was crazy, man. Some crazy stuff, something crazy could have happened. I could have did something crazy, because the younger me didn't comprehend the extent to which I was impacted by, things that were happening around me. So I would encourage, if you're not comfortable just yet, again, you're not comfortable just yet seeing a therapist, seeing a professional about it, talk to somebody. Let it out in a positive manner, of course, because, there's both ways. There's both sides to it. There's both sides to it. Things happen to people, and they feel like retaliation is, that's therapy for them. They're retaliating, or, hurting someone else the way they were hurt is their therapy. But I would encourage everyone just to do something positive with it. Take your loss and make it, into either your gain or someone else's gain. And you'll feel a whole lot better about it. And that's just how I feel, personally about it. Y'all both gave great analogies, and you said with the therapy, just what you said, re-engineering. Reverse engineer how you think. I think a lot of us grew up in households where, again, or have homies to where we told them, man, I feel some type of way, or man, I'm in my feelings, and they look at us like, boy, get out your they look at us like, you in your feelings again, dog.
But not to cut you off, Cam, it's like when we kids, and in our community, specifically, that's the only community I can speak on. But in our community, when you just think about it, when you about 5 or 6 years old and you crying or you fall and you cry, well, get up.
You soft.
Get up, boy.
You soft.
I remember in my family, it was you a man or a mouse. Them the only choices I got. I'm 6. I only got a choice to be a man or a mouse. And from then, that's what we're conditioned then to not even express ourselves. From that point on, you're soft.
Yeah.
Crying is a normal feeling. That's a normal thing to do. I try to cry once a week, honestly. Whether I'm worshiping with God or when I go to the beach and I pray or whatever, I try to cry once a week. You know what I mean? It's a good thing to get out. It's good to cry. Crying ain't always negative, but we have to change that, and it start from kids, man. From kids, we have to start reconditioning and doing things different. We have to do things so much different. And with me, another thing though, a lot of us in our community have daddy issues. You know, so that's another thing that people really got to start realizing. Once you fix those daddy issues in your mind and things on your heart, and you fix that, that helps you to go further as well. You know what I mean? You can't hold that stuff in. You got to express it, cry it out, whatever you got to do, but you have to get it out. You know what I mean? So you got to help yourself get that stuff out, man.
Well, just to go, piggyback off it, like you say, you know, the way we was raised, I'm not saying it's wrong, but we do have some fucked up ass thoughts. And like I say, for us to sit here and say a man should not cry or a man should not show emotions, I agree to not agree with that, right? I agree to disagree. You know, I think that's the problem, especially with men. We're ashamed, we scared to show emotions until we just hold everything in, and then we don't know how to put the pot on the stove to let it boil. Like, we have to eventually let the steam come out. You have to. And if you don't ever do that, you will always, I promise you, you will always hold some type of grudge, some type of envy, some type of, whatever it is that goes in your mind, you will always hold something against, from you progressing in life.
Until you explode.
Yeah, you have to. And that's when, it's always too late. A lot of us never want to actually step out and seek help until it's late. And then another thing, a lot of us, we see these things that goes on, with some of our closest friends. And we don't actually step in because we don't want to intrude into their life. But sometimes we got to actually kick that door in and be like, "What's up, buddy? Man, talk to me, man. I ain't gonna lie. I heard through the gray line that such and such and such happened, but you keep telling me you good. Like, you need to be able to kick your brother door down and holler at him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my fault I heard it through the gray line, but you know what? You keep telling me you good. I need to holler at you, brother. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that we all have to do. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I shouldn't have to hear it through the grave line, but it is what it is. You feel me? But since it got to me, I should not let it pass. Like, I shouldn't let it skip past me, man. We have to be able to step in, and give a helping hand if we think we could give that helping hand for the time being, until that person seek the help that they need.
And I think it's something as simple as, man, we can't lie to ourselves. I think we all got some homies that, they, you come over, y'all hanging out, man, they smoking all day or they drinking all day, every day. We all got those homies. This is I wanted to give a real life example. Because, I got friends that I've come, talked to about this. I'm like, hey bro, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing this as some type of dependency, at this point. I'm gonna use that as, an example because I think we all got everybody I've ever talked to about this is like, man, I got homies that do the same thing or had the same issue. Either smoke all day, gotta smoke 3 times a day, can't eat before they, smoke or something like that. They're developing dependency, which is conditioning their mind, to make it believe that they have to, indulge in this activity before they can do anything else, before they can drive somewhere, before they can go to work and properly function, to the point where they can't really do it. They can't stay focused unless they have this substance, in their system while they're doing it. I feel like this goes hand in hand with the topic today. We gotta be able to step in and be like, bro, I know this is something we do. Marijuana is the drug of choice in the black community. Over all of those, other drugs.
Well, I think the first thing we got to do is tell the truth, and the truth is, People really to this day don't believe marijuana is an addiction.
Yeah.
Crack is an addiction. Coke is an addiction. Marijuana is an addiction. It's no difference. I don't care. They all have their own justifiable things what they do to your body, but it's an addiction. If, like you say, if you wake up and you need to smoke, yo, it's an addiction. If you just need to smoke before you do anything, it's an addiction. But a lot of people will sit here and say it's not an addiction. If you spending your last dollars and you know you got bills to pay, but you go buy that bag, you go buy that $20 bag, or you go buy that gram, yo, that's an addiction. You have a problem. You need to go seek help. But you know, especially in our community, we won't actually admit that we have this type of that medical condition that we have when it comes to marijuana. But yeah, that's something I just wanted to say right
And
there.
and just we just using that as an example, but in reality, you can honestly become addicted or be dependent upon really pretty much anything.
Anything. Social media is an addiction.
But we gotta be able to see that again, as a friend, as a loved one. We gotta be able to see that and be like, bro, I don't know about you, but man, I think that's a problem, man. Just speak your mind. Just speak your mind. Just like, if you're the type of person to outwardly express your feelings, you see something going on with somebody else that you care about, man, just say it. Man, I seen this, man. I don't know if it is what it looked like, but I'm gonna tell you what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the easiest way to address it without, what I'm saying? You gotta, because you might have to be a little passive aggressive about it, unless you just be straightforward, you know? So I think we had a real productive conversation today, man. And just to wrap it up, how do we as individuals, where we go from here? We all, have dealt with some type of, mental, health situation or something that we've had to deal with and that we had to come to terms with and address. So how do we help the ones around us? How do we do that for our communities, for our social networks? Because we don't just want to address it on the show. We don't just want to say this is what we've done and this is what we've dealt with and this is what we've seen. How do we actually help improve the lives of others around us?
Just be vocal. Be vocal and be intentional with like what you're saying. We're not just going to talk about it. Be intentional. Tell people about it. Let people know. Be transparent as well. Let people know, look, I've been through it. I know how it is. And look, it's going to help you. You have to make people feel comfortable about it because it is something that we're not really used to. So you have to kind of dress it up and make it look whatever you got to do. But you have to be intentional about it. You have to tell people about it. If you're at work, if you're in school, look, man, I go to therapy, or my cousin went to therapy, or my homeboy went to therapy, or my coworker said he went to but we gotta just mention it. It has to be a conversation. And just like we'll talk about Antonio Brown, you can tell somebody, you need to go to therapy. Let's not be talking about football and other stuff that don't mean nothing. We can just have more important and intentional conversations with people that we're around. With the churches, if you have a good pastor, you feel like you got a good pastor, talk to your pastor. He should be able to counsel you too. That's a part of the church too. Mm-hmm. Your pastor should be somebody that you can consult to and tell whatever going on, and you ain't got to worry about the whole church knowing your business. That's a part of therapy too. Yeah. If you go to church every Sunday, talk to them. Mm-hmm. But just be intentional, man. That's what I feel like. Let's try to find ways with resources and schools and actually get real counselors, not counselors that just change your classes, like counselors that really care and want to talk to these kids and asking these kids, how you feeling? You feel good today? Like how was, but then sometimes the parents be, y'all in my business. Don't be telling my business. So we be like, man, I can't even express myself. God, man. But just be intentional, man. I feel like, and I know that we're going to make a difference. I feel like with God and prayer and just real love, we can make a difference. And I see a little difference now in our community. I see it a little bit, but I just feel like let's just be intentional and let's just know that. We got to know that it's going to get better.
Yeah. With me, like I say, for sure it starts with parenting. I don't have no kid, so but I do see and I experience things, right? We do always tend to tell our kids, our basically don't express yourself. We have to actually start letting our kids express themselves. I used to get in trouble for expressing myself a lot, but and that's just something you have to actually let your kid do. You have to be able to listen to your kid, see what you could do for your kid. That's one thing. Another thing, as adults, right? We have to be openly to be able to. How can I say this? We have to be more friendlier, especially in the black culture, right? And what I mean by friendlier, right? I'm gonna give an example. I was just it was New Year's Eve. I seen a brother dressed up real nice or whatever. Cut a couple of chains on and stuff like that. But he was looking good. I was like, damn, brother, you looking real great. You know what I'm saying? Brother couldn't even respond back. He kept it moving. And it's like, yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that right there just shows me it's some type of issue that you're going through. Hey, maybe you're just not a friendly person. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with just acknowledging somebody, right?
Yeah.
Even if you want to hold a conversation, just acknowledge the person, right? So it's stuff like that goes on. Because I used to be that person, right? Man, what the hell you talking to me for? What the fuck on? Like, I ain't friend. You know what I'm saying? But as I grew up, as I got older, I understand that now I could just talk to anybody, right? I don't care who the peer is. I just talk. And that's what we have to actually start doing. We have to actually go out and just start talking to people, express conversations with people, right? Don't worry about what the outcome is going to be. Like, just go out there and talk, because that right there is some type of form of therapy, right? You might not be able to afford it, but just going out there meeting and talking and greeting different people, that right there is some type of form of a therapy session, right? Another thing, a lot of us work, and believe it or not, you can actually use your job insurance, to go get therapy sessions. If you just, look through your insurance to see what does your job offer. Do it allow me to go have a therapy session? When I was working, it was $25 every time I go see my therapist. So a lot of us don't even know that our job insurance cover these therapy sessions. So go check your job insurance and see if you actually if do it cover some type of sections. That's another thing. But like I say, man, most importantly, man, we have to not be afraid to express ourselves, man. Stop holding everything in. If you have people around you, talk to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? If something bad happened, let somebody know. Like, you don't have to hide in the closet all the time. It's all right to open the closet door and step out, right? Get out that shell. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I know in the black culture. We think we can solve all the problems by ourselves. No, we can't. It's impossible. No man can do it. So we have to step out and just start letting people know. I get it. You might not want to let everybody know that goes on in your life. I get it. But you have to find that one person you could tell, you could trust. And, and just let that person know, hey, you know what I'm saying? This happened today. I just needed to let this out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to let it boil inside me. So I just wanted to tell you. And, it's up to that person who you tell not to tell the next person. But you have to eventually. I don't care if you go outside. If you don't want to tell nobody, hell, go outside in your backyard and talk to your damn self. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? Just talk to your damn self. But you have to stop holding things inside. You have to release it. You have to. People don't understand. Stress is literally the number one cause of death. It's just like when somebody find out that they got a disease or something. I don't think it's that disease that's killing them. It's the stress that builds on top of that disease that kills them.
Yeah.
So we have to let things go. You have to release all that energy, man. You like when they say detox, right? You have to cleanse your body. You know what I'm saying? When you go in the sauna, what are you doing? You're releasing energy in the sauna. So it's basically the same thing. We have to release all of that negativity that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Going to work and you had a bad day at work, that's a form of stress. You have to release that. You have to talk to somebody. You had a bad day. Let somebody know. Maybe they can make it better. It's just a lot of things out here in this world that we could do, especially as a culture. We have to be more openly more. And once we become more openly, we can see the world for what the world really is. And that's all I got to say.
Man, I can't really say too much after that, man. But really, my thoughts on this is, again, like KT said, we gotta be intentional with all of our actions, moving forward in everything that we do. Anybody watching this, I encourage you to start being intentional about everything you're doing. Start with your loved ones, start with your friends that you're closest to. So and these three points I'm gonna give you just to do that. They say words are powerful. I think thoughts are even more powerful because you sometimes we hold our tongue, but you can't control what you really feel on the inside. So that's your inner self telling you, man, oh that was you laughing at somebody joke, how that was funny. On the inside, you're thinking that was terrible. It wasn't funny, but I was just being nice. And I think actions, are even more powerful than thoughts because that shows your intention. That shows not only that you can speak about something, and you can feel it inside, but if you don't do it, then you ain't. What do you're not fulfilling whatever you have inside of you. So I think take it a step further. Think positive thoughts, speak positive, and act positive, and you'll see that return, tenfold back to you. And just for this topic in general, man, I just encourage the person next to you to express themselves. Express yourself to them. Put yourself out there first. If you feel like somebody may be going through something, how about you put yourself out there first? That's being intentional with your actions. You're saying, hey, bro, you good? Like everything good with you, man? How your day was, bro? How the kids doing? How the wifey doing? How your mom's doing? How they doing, man? What you got going on? What's your plans for 2022? You know what I'm saying? What's your goals? How can I help you achieve those goals? This is what I got going on. That's how you being intentional. Without being direct, you're being intentional about it because if there's something going on, I guarantee if you ask those questions, something's gonna come up and be like, bro, I'm trying to do this, man, but it just ain't been working out, man. I've been trying to do this for the longest. I've been trying to get in shape for the longest, man. I've been trying to find somebody to date for the longest, but I can't. Or, I've been trying to, start this business for the longest, but I don't know how to do it. And it's killing me, dog. I've been trying to get a better job and, so my baby can eat better and this and that, but I'm hurting on the inside. So, and you can see the way, someone feels without them. Sometimes if you know that person without them even saying it, that way it's easier to address it. So, just like they said, to wrap it up, man, we can't be afraid to seek help. We gotta be intentional with our actions, with our thoughts, and the words that we speak as well. So this was Unethical and Accountable, signing out. Thank y'all for joining us. Peace.
Peace.